Hi, I'm MJ Powell. I am a British 16-year-old author and I've just self-published my debut novel, Dormant Forces, which is the first instalment of the Last Mortal series on Amazon KDP. It is a fantasy novel about the last human girl alive in a world of magical creatures, and already living her life in hiding because of the prejudice against her kind. Her situation becomes all the more dire when she murders one of these magical creatures, and she ends up on trial to be executed for her crimes. The story is about her subsequent escape and the trials emotionally that she goes through, and physically as well, to find herself and to test her morality and find who she is and find where she belongs. I think writing has always been in my family. We've always been quite a creative unit of storytellers between us all. But ever since I was young, I've always wanted to write a book. And you'll always have found me writing mostly supernatural stories about ghosts and whatnot, which I never ever finished. And I did enjoy writing them, but there was just an inconsistency about them, and I've been trying to write them since I was probably about 5 years old. However, when I read my first fantasy novel, which was probably only about 5 years ago, I utterly fell in love with the genre. And I found that my writing just flowed tremendously whenever I thought about it or came up with ideas for it. And it only took me a few years before I had this really, really solid idea, which I absolutely adored, and I found that the inspiration just flowed whenever I wrote, and it still does to this day. It's the more I write, the more inspiration comes, and even when I have writer's block, I'm inspired and I'm always thinking of story ideas because I just love the fantasy world. So, top tip, write in a genre that you utterly adore and the writing will never ever be boring. TikTok certainly influenced my marketing when I read that opening line for my novel. And the TikTok algorithm took it and it went utterly berserk, hitting 1.3 million views, which was absolutely mental. And it was certainly massive part of the marketing and an enormous part of my following. But the best advice I can give for an algorithm that is utterly unpredictable is to show up every single day. That is what I said I would do, is to just put content out there, have fun coming up with new ideas, and just enjoy it, and just work every single day. And don't care what people say, do what is right for your marketing strategy. Yeah, just have some fun with it, and just show up every single day, and just sit back and don't have any expectations, but also don't lose hope. But just keep trying, basically. The greatest challenge for self-publishing was staying positive and overcoming all of the challenges that were thrown my way, basically. Self-publishing is a very learn-as-you-go type thing. You can do extensive research, but yet your publishing platform that you choose or whatever, it will find a way to surprise you. And mistakes get made. You have to... Promises you make to your audience can be unfulfilled because of tech issues or all sorts. And the challenge for me, even now, is to make peace with these things. Stuff happens, and it's all part of the journey. And when you come around to it for your next book, it will be so much smoother. And if you just keep that thought in your mind, it helps get through all of the trial and error of it. My favourite aspect of writing, other than the romance and the relationships between characters, has to be when I get in the zone. Writing crackling dialogue or in detailed description of scenery, and I can see it so vividly in my mind. I love the way my fingers fly off the keyboard. There's just not a feeling quite like it. A big mistake in writing that is very often made is when we worry about what other people will think. that is honestly the biggest mistake that any of us will ever make. And when I write, I've learned to write for myself. Dormant Forces and the other installments that are going to be following this series, it is the story that I would dream of, that I would love to read. And there are characters that put a smile on my face, and if I worry too much about what the people will think, whether or not the dialogue is intelligent or witty, or if the scenery is descriptive enough, or if the characters are realistic enough, it will become... my writing just becomes staccatoed and out of rhythm, and eventually it'll just be a bland husk of a story, because you can't please everyone. It's impossible. So write for yourself. Just don't write for anyone else. That's all the questions that I was given for today. Thank you so much for asking me to do this interview. Honestly, it was very lovely. I'm very nervous. You can follow me on my TikTok platform, Real MJ Powell, and you can follow me on my Instagram, which is also Real MJ Powell, and there will be regular marketing updates. TikTok, I do funny content, I do writing, at least I think it's funny, writing TikToks, and all sorts, and sneak peeks from my book, and snippets of what it's like publishing behind the scenes. So go check it out and give me a follow and a like, please. Thank you. Have a lovely day.